this is part of the Chinese philosophy. You only need to be accurate on the principle. The principle is never wrong. And once the principle materializes into something, that something is always flawed. So it's like humans, our original design, the DNA is correct. It's a formula. It's like when you teach people 1 + 1 = 2, it's never wrong. But when you are counting, you always miss something. You always add something wrong. Or it should be 1 apple, but I thought it was 1 orange. So mistakes are because you actualize it. But the theory itself is never wrong. So the yin-yang theory is that you have a circle, a ball. And then you have another ball. You want them to interact, and the interaction requires certain methods. One is that you put teeth on them, so they are like gears. They don't slip. And so why? Because they have to touch, and then they have to move. If they don't touch enough, they slip. If they touch too much, they cannot move. They jam. So one method is to use teeth, like our mechanical engineering, you use gears. Another is you actually have a ball made of rubber or just steel, but they just grind onto each other. Then that requires perfect friction. And the friction has to be adjusted all the time, because if there's more pressure, then the friction has to be a little bit looser. If there's less pressure, the friction has to be more. And this is one method. In addition to that, there is a requirement that in order for this to continue with this bite, the friction is there, engagement, you have to have a rod locking the two discs or circles or two balls into position. They don't go away from each other. This is one method. So another method is, now this is the part that my drawing is going to fail, but we'll just give it a try. This red here is actually an encasement. When you encase the two discs in it, you do not need this here. They can't go away. They cannot separate. So the Taiji separation, yin and yang means separate, there are two. But we also say there has to be two, but you cannot have two. Because if there are two, it's like I'm standing here, Grace, you're sitting there, why would this mean anything? It has to be either we're shaking hands or we're hugging, or we can be in space, we can get rid of this space by talking to each other, because the words will reach you. Or I just make a move, say, hi, like this. That's an interaction. We're too far away, the interaction does not exist. If you are in Toronto and I'm here and I say, Grace, how are you? And you cannot hear me. So that means you are too not connected. So the connection, you realize, that can be physical, can be whatever. Now it's connected with a keyboard. So once you have this encasement, these two are connected. And so this is the Taiji part. It's called, there are two, but they are not two. They are connected as one. And they can change words or they can do whatever. So this here, because this interlay, or I made a mistake of considering that in Asia there is more than one culture. In Korea, it's like this. In China, it's like this. The S is like this. That has to do with your language and your culture, what you're used to. The Chinese language is based on this way. And so you stand it up, but it really has no bearing. So that's the yin and yang. So this yin and yang here, then this is one color, this is another. The new age, the technology is helping a lot. So the process that I just went through to do this here is flat. It's like this, but in reality, there are two balls and encased in a cylinder. When I used to teach Photoshop in my art school, When I did it, I tried to make the first thing I taught was to ask students to make a Taiji design. It turns out to make a perfect design, you require 76 layers. And that's because of the use of technology. Actually, technology clearly separates every layer for you to know that it's the same as like a beef broth is. Beef stew is very good, but grandmother's beef stew is special because there's a few other things she puts in it. And so not the more, but it means something, there are two types. One is it's very clear, gold, no other substance, it's pure. Others require stew, a lot of things in it. And I like to put whatever the leftover is in it and then boil it again, it tastes better for me. And this is synthesized, a lot of things in it. So it shows us that the Taiji sign is not that simple. It's just not a single line of S. It's actually two balls with an encasement, minimum 3 layers. One is here. One layer is a black ball, a white ball. Then use a third color because otherwise students cannot see it. And when you merge them, it becomes this one here. And so if you actually do a little bit of programming, the 76 different layers to take out the merged part and all of that, because once there are 2 layers on top of each other, you can get rid of half of the other one too. Once you do that and program in Photoshop, there is a function that you play this out layer by layer. When you play it out, you can see that it's like this and like this, like this, and like this, and taking this, all of them, you play them fast, the sign actually spins. And it's static. It looks like it's spinning. So because of that process that I went through teaching, it gave me a better understanding of this here. So in general, this here has no meaning unless if I use red, black and blue actually. So assuming this side is blue, I use black. This black shows the black comes through here. And then I use blue, it means the blue comes through to the other side. So that shows that they are rooted in each other, they merge. It's not just a single thing here. So this is yin yang. Now you realize that in my teaching, I always tell people Taiji is one, but there are 2, black and white, yin and yang. But overall, if you want to say what is it in whole, Taiji is the art of 3. Taiji is yin-yang separation. Once you separate it into 2, 2 means 3. Why? Because the 2 will fall apart unless you encase it. So there are 2 ways of encasing it. One is to draw a circle to encase it. It cannot escape. Another is that when you pivot with the 2 rods there, this line is a demarcation. So if you use the demarcation to control, the encasement is inside, it's a lock. It's a bite. Or there is no bite, and you don't adjust, you don't fix, you lock it inside here. So Taiji is actually everything. In the Chinese culture, what is everything? 3 is everything. Who knows an idea to demonstrate 3 is everything? 3 is everything in the Taiji theory because it's infinity. 1 is not. But you understand what I'm talking about? I'll give you an example. If I fly to another planet, there's only me, it's the same as there is no life. Because at the end of my life, nothing exists, gone. And if I go with a woman, you see a possibility, but it's not a definite thing. Because if we never run into each other on this new planet, then when I'm 100 years old, I'm dead. When she's 100 years old, she's dead. Nothing ever existed. But if the 2 will meet and have a child, everything starts. There's no end to it. That's why 3 is infinity. That's how life started. When there are 3, not talking about human ethics, talking about genetics. When there are 3, the 2 male and the female will definitely produce a child. It does not matter the gender. If the child is a male and this one is dead, the male can continue to mate with the female. But only in recent years we have social etiquette, social ethics. But in wilderness, you have to survive. And so there is no end to it anymore. So 3 is the biggest number in the Chinese culture. And then multiples of 3 are used. So 2 of them is 6. Number 6 is a very happy number. That's why we say number 6 is called shun. It means now you flow. Shun is to flow with something. By the time you have 3, another set of 3, this flow starts. By the time you have another 3, which is 9, we say that's the ultimate. Because ancient people did not know how to count more than 9. Because after 9, that's the highest. Because 10 is a new set, new upgraded system of 3s.
So that's why a lot of Chinese people with their motor vehicles have number plates with 6 and 9.
Yeah.
So they don't have 7. Why?
All of those are very, very far further derived. The original one is 3, 6, 9. Yeah. And 3, 6, 9 were from 1 it becomes 3. That's good. And that's only numerically good. But by the time it's 6, we say things are going smoothly. So if you have 666, it's not the devil. No, it means if you get 666 on your plate, that's a very lucky number because everything in your life will be smooth. And if you get 9, it means this will last forever.
Why do people say it's the devil's number then?
That's the Western culture.
But why? Okay. We get it wrong.
No, it's not. You got it wrong. It's a different system. Systems are never right or wrong. Systems are that they have to make sense within that system. And but the other numbers were further derived with added meaning, and it's just more details. So some people like 7, others like 8 because the number 8 sounds like fortune, prosperity.
But that's all superstition.
Yeah,
that's
it's just
theory.
Yeah. So I was in Finland 1 year, and I checked into the Continental Hotel, and the lady gave me a room, and the room number is 888, and I gave her $20 tip, and she said, "Why?" I said, "You don't know, but you did something that made me really happy." In this big hotel, there's only one room with 888, and you give it to me. I'm Chinese. I really like it. I think I'm very lucky today. And
so you can make yourself happy by just looking at numbers.
Yeah. Well, it's like if you like liquor, it will make you happy, and I don't like it, and I like chocolate. Chocolate will make me happy, and but once you are part of a system, you have to make sense within that system. And so far, if I relate all of this to our daily life and the politics a little bit, is that the Western culture and the Chinese culture have a lot of things in common, but at the same time, there are a lot of things are in direct conflict. But the conflict, if you understand the culture, is not real. We made it up. It's like if I same like here. See, you see, he's wearing red. For the Chinese, red means happiness. When I see red, it's she's a happy person. And another person might say, that's warring, that's warlike. It's like you are aggressive, like you got a problem. But the color itself has no meaning, but we give meaning. And if we read too much into it, we cause trouble. And we think that she's causing trouble, but no, she did not even know, because for her, that's good. When I went to Canada the first few years, somebody came and did a reading, and the colors, I picked red, because for me, that's happiness. And so the psychiatrist, they said, you always like to fight, you pick on everything you're not happy. I said, why not? She said, because you picked red. I said, red is happiness. But anyway, so this is the Taiji sign. Now you realize once we have this here, what's more important is that everything is enclosed, and when you give an external force, the two balls will start to rotate. And the rotation has to be precise. The precision is called nothing can be added, nothing can be taken away. So when you push this a little bit over here, this one switches to this side. And it's a closed circuit system. So when you are here, you can't just do this. When you come in a little bit here, this comes in, this has to go out. This is a micro system here. Then there is another one on your chest, on your torso, another one on your legs. Can you see everything adjusts? And it's always balanced. Like this. It's different from you just randomly, oh, how about this? It's not like that. So whatever you do, you think you're doing something, you haven't done anything. Because everything balances out to be zero. So when you think you add something, actually this push comes back here. Nothing comes out. It's the same. Everything is like that here. Like right now, I can relate to the past 3 years. The problem with the COVID is that an alien virus goes into your body. And normally, we have a closed circuit system. Only something we're familiar with comes in and goes out. Then something comes in our body cannot deal with, causes trouble.